Have you ever actually wondered what invisible threads hold an entire universe together? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to dive into the awe-inspiring lore of the ethereal star system. We're going to uncover how memory, ancient magic, and vast cosmic alliances bind three incredibly distinct realms into one perfectly balanced whole. It's a fascinating journey right into the very soul of a universe, so let's get right into it.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the magic of the three realms, head down into Cyralis, the memory archive, then check out the fairy realm's magical crucible, look up at the lunar kingdom, celestial power, and finally wrap up with alliances and cosmic trade. Let's jump in.
Part 1. The Magic of Three Realms, an Interconnected Cosmos.
I want you to really think about this for a second. How do you preserve the soul of an entire planet? It's kind of a crazy thing to wrap your head around, right? Continents shift, civilizations rise and fall, and time basically erases even the biggest stone monuments. But this brings us to the planet of Yaenddarr, and the answer there? It isn't found in dusty old scrolls or massive fortresses. The secret to planetary preservation is actually hidden deep beneath the surface of the water.
Part 2. Cyralis, the Memory Archive.
So the big secret to Yaenddar's preservation is something called elixir. But listen, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill magical water. The scholar Umok figured this out during his studies. He realized elixir doesn't just heal a physical wound by speeding up cell growth. No, it actually remembers creatures perfectly whole, exactly as they were before the pain ever existed. It catalogs literally everything, every breath, every blink, every stray strand of fur. It's basically the lifeblood of remembrance, keeping this flawless, shimmering record of life in its currents.
Now all this, living memory, needs a pretty spectacular place to live, right? Enter the underwater city of Cyralis. It's this incredibly complex, sentient mnemonic reef watching over the Elysium forest above. At the very bottom, you've got the Vault of Vessels, this massive labyrinth of spiraling biocoral holding the unique soul signatures of all known life. Right above that sits the Bloom Spire, which is this floating tower reef acting like an emotional barometer for the forest. Then there's the Pearl Array. This is where Elysian-infused memory pearls are kept, and you can only access them if you know the exact harmonic frequencies to sing. Crazy, right? At the dead center is the Aqua Frame, a convergence node calculating exactly when rebirth is needed up top. And echoing through the whole thing is the Hall of Echoes, a massive resonant chamber where merfolk and undines sing nonstop to keep these fragile memories safe.
Okay, so how does all this recorded memory actually turn back into physical life? Well, it happens through this really delicate four-step process of soul restoration. First up is the imprint phase, where tiny traces of soul DNA are just gently absorbed into the Elysium pools. Next, Cyralis stores this info, holding the personality contours and the physical body map together in what they call a rebirth shell. Then we get the harmonize phase. This is where merfolk sing these very ancient, specific lullabies that literally weave those metaphysical fragments back together. And finally, rebirth. The soul takes physical form again, totally remembering its past life. We actually saw this with the legendary Elysium dire cat completely resurrected from these waters. The big takeaway here is that they aren't rewinding time, they're just gently reminding a scattered spirit that, hey, you're still welcome to return.
If Yaenddarr is the breath and elixir the blood, Cyralis is the dream that keeps the soul from drifting too far. You know, Elder Fern's poetic wisdom really hits the nail on the head here. Cyralis is basically the ultimate safety net for existence itself. Just imagine having a safety net for life. Knowing that when something disappears from the physical world, it isn't truly gone for good. It just slips back into the planet's rhythm, waiting for the right moment to be sung back into reality.
Moving on to Part 3, Fairy Realm's Magical Crucible.
Now let's look at the totally different paths of magic over in the fairy realms. Training here under Champion Lloyd is intense. He teaches that raw elemental power absolutely has to be tempered by strategy and massive restraint. Take Alara. She channels the chaotic, destructive energy of solar flares, but she manages to distill them down into these delicate heat pockets, meant just for accelerating tissue regeneration and healing sick flora like moonvines. But then you look at Princess Anya, and she takes a completely different route. She literally shrinks into a dizzying miniature vortex of magic, using the realm's wind as this rapid physical armor. So two different disciplines, but both are all about transforming chaotic fire or wind into super precise, life-saving tools.
But you know, the fairy realms aren't just about churning out elemental warriors. Princess Anya's diplomatic trials show us a really beautiful way they handle conflict, unspoken memory translation. When arguing fails and words are just making old generational grudges worse, the fairies bust out memory-infused mirrors. A mirror tile will project a shared memory of a past grievance, or maybe even a hidden act of kindness, and boom, the emotional truth is just laid out there for everyone to feel. They literally negotiate peace without having to say a single word.
Part 4. Lunar Kingdom, Celestial Power.
So this timeline gives us a really good look at how the Lunar Kingdom evolved from an empty celestial canvas into a place holding some of the most formidable, galaxy-altering powers out there. Back in the primordial ages, Celestia herself literally pulled raw matter from the cosmos, slowly molding the shimmering foundations of the Lunar Kingdom. Then, fast forward to the Age of Restoration, and magic shifts inward. This is when Lycaeus awakens his lunar star form, bypassing normal spellcasting to shape these massive glyphs using just pure emotion and breath. Give it a decade, and the kingdom's martial power hits a terrifying peak. You've got warriors like Dante and Milo mastering devastating abilities. We're talking wielding pyre lasers and using cosmic telepathy under Celestria's strict guidance.
And Lycaeus' ultimate evolution into that lunar star form, it's the perfect example of this celestial might, though honestly, it comes with a pretty heavy burden. This invariant state is fueled by this crazy, volatile fusion of solar and lunar energy, perfectly balancing absolute creation and total destruction. It gives him total cosmic awareness, letting him see way beyond the physical realm and actually communicate with the moon through raw feeling. But here's the catch, and it's a tragic one. Once he's in this state, he can never go back to his human or animal shape. He literally transforms from a terrestrial guardian into a permanent cosmic anchor. No going back.
And finally, Part 5. Alliances and Cosmic Trade.
All right, so with all this mind-blowing lore laid out, we really need to talk about how these vastly different realms actually keep each other afloat. You have the fairy realms with their ancient, earthy magic, and the lunar kingdom with its crazy advanced celestial tech. And they both desperately need what the other guy has. The fairy realms export magistars, which are these essential tools used for healing, protection, and basically commuting across the vast distances between realms. In exchange, the lunar kingdom sends down lunar stars. These provide unyielding illumination and act as a super potent source of magical energy for the fairylands. It's a completely symbiotic cosmic economy built on absolute trust.
So what's the big takeaway from this explainer? It's that survival here requires profound, intentional interconnectedness. We've got the deep, memory-preserving waters of Cyralis anchoring the soul. We've got the fierce, elemental crucible of the fairies shaping raw nature. And up above, the boundless celestial power of the lunar kingdom watching over it all. The balance of this whole cosmos relies entirely on the synthesis of water, root, and star. None of them can survive without the others.
So if the stars can remember their form, and the waters can actually rebuild a scattered soul, what forgotten powers will awaken next in the ethereal star system? I'm going to leave you with that final thought to ponder as you reflect on the majestic, fragile balance of these intertwined worlds. When a universe actually knows how to remember what was lost, the future is pretty much limitless. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.